Aloha, and thank you for joining Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii, coming to you from the fairy cabin at Fairyland. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Yay, Sativa. Okay, I have a question right away. Let's see what's happening here. What's your take on our minds being brainwashed or programmed from things we hear and see? Okay, that's a fun one. Aloha, Christine. So, being brainwashed, there's more than a touch of vulnerability in that. And it's not as if we can be brainwashed without our authority. You know, it's we're designing everything that arises. We are authoring everything. Nothing is happening without our consent. But it's not from this conscious plane that we take to be reality. It's we're not choosing it from this plane. Okay? From this plane there are veils up of forgetfulness. So we don't recognize how we're choosing it, why we're choosing it, unless we're willing to see and experience the effects of those choices. Okay, so it's kind of like there's a pool of all these delusional thoughts that make us out to be separate, and we're like, woo, I want to go. I'll go in. I'll know who I am, and it won't be a problem. It'll be healed because I know who I am. It's kind of fun and joyful. It feels like a game. Oh yeah, I'll go in there. But once those veils go up, and there's that forgetting, then it's you allowing yourself to be brainwashed. If there's brainwashing, it's us allowing ourselves to be brainwashed. And I even mean for a kid, because there's really no such thing between a child and an adult except what we've made up about it. We're all the same power. We're all the same dominion over all. It's just that from this level, conscious level, let's say a conscious dimension, okay, or a plane. Well, that's how psychics address it, a plane of reality, a plane of so-called reality, okay? And from this plane of so-called reality, there's not a perception of the higher self, or you could say the all-knowing aspect of you. You can't perceive that from this plane. It's just up to us to recognize that for ourselves. So it's like this all-knowing aspect of ourselves is guiding our life path wherever it needs to go to show what it is that can be healed right now. So we can't really be programmed by things we see and hear. It's just that we allow that programming to take place. We allow that, or we could say we're permitting it. We're permissive. Because something arises in the consciousness. Let's say a commercial. I don't know where she was going with that, but let's say a commercial, that's exactly what, they're looking to do. That's part of marketing. But it's like we don't have to take that as true. It's only that forgetfulness that causes us to take it as true. Like, you can't just be brainwashed against your will. Okay? That's not possible. Nothing happens by accident. So any programming you can look at, you've done that to yourself. You can look at you've just done that to yourself because there's no other. It's like anything that it seems like another person is doing to you, that's also authored by you. So it's not like someone can come into your experience, into your space in any way, and I mean in any way, without our minds resonating, mind energy attracting. Okay, there's not a possibility of something coming into our space or into our experience that wasn't completely authored by us. So then what does programming become? It's just nothing. Because what's aware of the programming? What's aware of the programming? Can you sense that is all powerful? Can you sense that is what's in charge now? Right now, not in your mind in the past or in the future, but right now, what has authority? What has authority? And that's that awareness that's just aware of all these comings and goings. It's aware of the brainwashing. It's aware of the apparent brain that's getting washed, and it doesn't have to buy into any of these kinds of delusions. And if you experience another person that seems as if they've been brainwashed, no need to buy into that, because it's not as if it happened to them on accident, and it's not as if you're perceiving truly. That's a misperception that anyone's been brainwashed. It's only a misperception. It didn't happen. Okay? That's not perceiving truly. To make it real is to not perceive truly. Okay? There's no such thing as that. So isn't that fun? You don't have to take anything on, and especially anything that denies who you are. Okay? That would include any kind of evaluation. I've been having a conversation recently with a lovely woman who just was under the impression that whatever she perceived was about her, and how far she's come along and how much baggage she still has. And that itself is suffering. The perception isn't about you. So that means if someone comes up and they are irate at you, or they appear to be irate at you, and they're yelling at you, it seems like that's what's happening, that doesn't say anything about you. It's absolutely an opportunity for you to see that that isn't real, to recognize that that isn't real, to experience it, not deny the experience at all. It's almost like listening with your whole body. So say someone comes up and they're irate, and all of a sudden you sense a reaction in your body. Just to being alert to that reaction, being that comforting presence within the reaction. I have one friend who looks at it like this. It's like there's a baby crying whenever there's a reaction, whenever she senses a reaction in her energy field. And she'll just do this cute little process, just like, hold please. She'll say like, hold please. She's feeling some stress in a conversation or anything, and she'll act like she's picking up this baby and going, it's okay, all right, it's okay, and then come back to the conversation. And that's a really a visual way of viewing it, but that's kind of like the energy of it. It's like there's this reaction to there's a reaction that is sensed inside the body. So it's not about denying that reaction at all. It's about feeling it and embracing it and letting it just be okay. And from that, everything works out. But when there's a reaction, what the habit is to find out what's wrong. And a major trick of the ego for finding out what's wrong is that when we experience a perception that we don't like, meaning we're experiencing a perception that's producing an intense energy sensation in our body, basically that's all it is. It seems like we don't like it, but that's only a seeming thing. When something like that arises, the habit is to try to find out what's wrong. So it goes for a lot from projecting at other people like they've done it wrong or something, to now projecting, and this is how the ego takes it over, to projecting to this one onto this one as if this perception shouldn't have happened, and it's only happening because this one has baggage. You see? You see that? That's a false identification. That's a false identification. The image of yourself, which includes your body and your thoughts and emotions and all that kind of stuff, that image of yourself is not one bit real. So how can it hold any baggage? How can it hold any baggage if it's not real? That's a perception. And you certainly couldn't hold any baggage because you're awareness. So who is that talking about? Who could that possibly be about? Okay? That's just more nothingness. It's more stuff to make you go, am I getting it wrong? What's wrong? It's always what's wrong. You know, oh no, I'm not embracing this feeling. I must be getting it wrong. That's exactly the kind of block that prevents that compassion from being allowed right now in your own energy field, allowing that compassion in right now. Identifying with an individual who can possibly have any baggage that makes an uncomfortable perception is not true. And that's the reason why the perception continues to feel uncomfortable. Who minds what comes? Who minds? No one minds. That's just a perception. If you're going to identify with the perception of that which minds, then there's going to be upset, stress, suffering, exhaustion. Definitely a block toward creativity. Yeah. Just identifying with this idea that you can be evaluated in any way. You know, and that's what I notice is what it is kind of like the progression. You know, I'm seeing a lot of recognizing, wow, whatever we're projecting for other people, that's not true. But then there's this other hook. Okay, if that's not true, then why am I making that up? And what's wrong with me? And how can I stop it? And none of those questions are relevant, because if you're not following looking for the answer to those questions, which the questions are coming from delusion anyways, if you're not looking for the answers to those questions, you will have a direct experience of what's causing it, a direct experience of what's causing it, and you will know it's not personal. To be 100% sure it's not personal. That's the thing. If we're going to take anything personal, then we can't see the impersonal. We can't become aware of the impersonal. And when it's impersonal, whatever delusion arises, it's welcome to play out. It's welcome to play out here and be experienced here. That ride will be taken. Yeah? And if that ride seems to be resisted, that's okay too. Because what's aware of the resistance is completely unchanging, and that's where you are. Isn't that fun? So yay. If anyone would like to speak with me or have any questions, please raise your hand. I'd love to speak with you, as you know, if you've been on with me before. Yeah, let's see. Brainwashing, that's pretty fun. We're constantly brainwashing ourselves. It's pretty awesome. Okay, how about this one? Perceiving that your efforts are being sabotaged. That's pretty fun, right? Because who's making an effort in the first place? Who's efforting? So if there's identification with one that's efforting, trying to get a particular outcome, then that's really a setup for having the perception of being sabotaged. And that's why that perception of being sabotaged is so much fun for me. because it's just lovely when it comes up. If it comes up again, we'll see. I've been having so much fun with it. It's this idea that whatever you've put forward is being stopped by someone. And I had I had a really fun experience with that. I was just sharing with someone that what's perceived reality isn't really real, and then the response to that was, how can you be how can you be how can you say something like that when I'm trying to help this person see and you're just going all the way, and I'm trying to help this person see and you're just going all the way, telling too much, taking it too far, Hope. Can't you see I'm trying to help this person and they're not being helped now because of you? See that? So the moment there is belief that we need to try to do something, even to try to help another person see. We're not a doer. We're not capable of doing anything. What's arising is arising. What's arising is arising. That's all. What's arising is coming out of, it appears to be coming out of my mouth. It seems like the speaker is saying it. But there's not any difference from another person saying it. It's not any different. If you're hearing it right now, it's not any different as if it came out of your own mouth. You wrote it. You wrote this. And if you turn this off right now, you wrote that too. The perception is all for you and authored by you. But it's not one big bit personal. And there's where the paradox is. It's not one bit personal, meaning it does not say anything about you, where you are, who you are, how you've evolved mentally, emotionally, spiritually, anything like that. Okay? It's just in the moment, if it's taken to be true, if you can be sabotaged in the moment, if that's believed in the moment, it's denying your true identity in this moment. That's all. It's basically a choice to go with denying your true identity instead of accepting what's true. That's all that's going on. And that's the only way you can perceive yourself as being sabotaged. It's totally impossible to be sabotaged. As we can see, as we recognize that we are making all of this up. Making it all up. Okay? So there's none of that. There's no sabotage. No one can do that to you. No one can come into your experience and create. You can only use them to make things up. You can only use them to make it seem as if you've been sabotaged. So it's sort of like using a perception of a person to get that impression of being sabotaged, to keep this illusion alive. Okay? And when you're willing to see that that's what's going on, you'll actually have the experience of that. Be able to have the experience of it. And it's awesome. It tends to bum some people out a little bit because they actually see how they've been using their perception to attack themselves. But the bummed out period, that's brief because it's always you always see your power in it in the moment, and the opportunity is coming. So once it's seen that it's not real, it's healed. It's healed. In that moment, it's healed. Now the perception might arise again and be taken as real, though. Just a denial of healing. It's just doubt, just self-doubt. If you believe the perception, then the doubt seems to win for a little bit longer. It's kind of just like taking a little segue, and there's nothing wrong with it. Anyone can do that for as much as they want. Eventually, the suffering gets to be too much that they just come back. That's why there's nothing wrong with it. You meander around with all these different ideas about ourselves. ideas about how far we've come on our path and all that kind of stuff. But there's no us like that. There's only awareness. There's only pure awareness. Okay. Yay. Yes, ego says I am neutral. Yes, what says I'm neutral, you know, is the ego. That's a trick. Let's put it this way. This is real simple. You can't be anything that has an opposite. Okay? That makes it real easy because it's like, I am neutral. There's an opposite to that. So, no. But that idea that I'm neutral, you know, that idea that that's who I am, I'm neutral, would prevent me from recognizing when I'm actually taking attack thoughts as true and attacking myself. Okay? Because these spiritual concepts aren't it. They're not it. They're just pointers to it. You're it, though. You're that. You are the ultimate. Okay? So when it arises in the mind, I am anything, that's not it. Yeah. Yay, aloha, Scott. Thank you for joining. If anyone would like to speak with me, please raise your hand. You can also write in. Love to hear from you. Connect with you. How are you, Leah?
Hi, Hope. Aloha. I just actually listened to your last week's wisdom
Oh,
dialogue, and you were addressing me.
oh, great. I'm glad you listened.
Yeah, of course I do. And the thing is, I'm kind of in a hurry today, so I may be brief. This is, I guess, the way I wrote today's wisdom dialogues, like you say, right? Is that I'm going to be rushing. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was going to say, last week you spoke about how I kind of like, it seemed like I wanted the permission to say no, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got very clearly, you know, that of course you can say no. The thing is, when you say no from a place where you blame someone or feel like they're not worthy of a yes, you know,
Yes.
that's the trick there.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know, I wasn't, of course, like directly asking for a permission to say no.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
but I just wanted to confirm whether I got this right. I think I did.
Okay.
The thing is, I'm not in that place where I don't feel like the pain or the heaviness of the situation, or
Uh-huh.
that I fully am able to experience it and, you know, and say no from a place of, you know, I love you. This is cool. Just no, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I theoretically get it, but I also can see that I am not in that experience, that I'm
Okay.
not okay with the way things are. So the way I understand it, that's just also an experience, pretty much.
Yes. Yes.
Also
That
there to be felt.
experience. It's an experience that you're not okay with the way things are. That's not the truth, though.
Hmm.
It's an experience because you know you're okay with the way things are because it's yours.
Hmm.
And it's and you made it to play in it.
Hmm.
You made it to be the love that you are in it.
Hmm.
You made it for expressing that. So even in the, oh, I don't like this, I'm not okay with it, just recognizing that that is not your voice. It's not your
Hmm.
voice saying that. Not true. You are stoked to play inside of anything because you
Hmm.
know because you're you.
Hmm. So I've been
That's the
feeling
thing.
lately where it feels like everything can be experienced sort of as a ride, like or as a movie, like you say it, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, this is where this ride is taking me. Oh, I see. That kind of thing,
Well,
right?
and you know, the ride isn't taking you anywhere. All it is producing fluctuations of energy that you're interpreting.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere. It's just like there's these fluctuations, and it feels intense at times, and it's just these energetic fluctuations, interpretation of information, and that's all the perception is.
They're kind of like wearing virtual reality goggles or something, or augmented reality.
Yes, and we wrote the video game. Yeah, we wrote the video game, and as long as we take it as if the character in the video game is who we are, then of course there's going to seem like there's things that we're not okay with.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's making it seem like it's not okay, is taking yourself to be this individual in the experience instead of just experiencing the experience. And all there is to do is notice that in the moment. Just keep noticing it. You know, it's like don't give up.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I don't think you will anyways because it's too painful. But,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it's like oh well, that's just the way things are. They just suck.
Mhm. Yeah, the thing is, I'm also finding that with this whole situation that I'm talking about, the saying no is kind of pointless because I don't know how to literally do it, you know. I've said no a million times and it's been an empty threat.
Okay, so you're not really saying no, you're just pretending to say no.
It's something like that. I kind of want to, but I don't know how to, let's say. That's my
Uh-huh.
perception of it.
Yes, exactly. So here's the thing, and this is something it's something they use in a program called Access Consciousness, and I really like it. You'll know what you need to know when you know it.
I just heard about that somewhere recently.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. You'll
yeah.
know this is one thing they say that's awesome. You'll know what you need to know when you know it. And
Hmm.
and that's just it. It's like you
Okay.
cannot perceiving clearly.
One sec. Hmm.
You cannot be perceiving clearly. You cannot perceive all the information that's necessary to make that no a no. You can't perceive what it is because
Hmm.
there's identification with what's not okay with it. There's identification with what's happened before. You know, and people can feel you. So more than what you're saying, people can feel your dis-ease in it,
Hmm.
and they know that your no is empty. They can sense it.
Hmm.
They can sense that. See,
Hmm.
and when there's not this identification as the individual that's like not okay with this. It's like, oh, goody, let's see how I'm going to get to play with this. Obviously, right now, I'm not seeing it because I'm upset. If I'm upset, I'm not seeing it, obviously.
Hmm.
But it's like, oh, how exciting. I get to see how this can be experienced in a joyful, fun, and loving manner.
Hmm.
And every time there's a little sense of relaxation, that's allowing that in. You know, like I've said before, there's no need that arises without its solution. It's contained within that apparent need. The apparent solution is contained within the apparent need.
I remember that very well now.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because you can't. There's no way you can have a need without there being the solution already present. But it's just denying the solution to say that I just there's no way. You know, when you say that there's no way, or you say that I've tried everything before and nothing works, in a way that like was blocking it, because it's easy for us to block it. It's easiest for us to block ourselves from perceiving.
Hmm.
It's really easy to do that, and it's just a matter of believing this thought that says that there actually is a need, that there actually is any need, because we're getting exactly what we need right now, or receiving exactly what we need. If there were to be any needs, you can say
Hmm.
that you always get what you need. But perceiving a need and then identifying with it makes the need real. We don't have to make the need real at all, because it's more playful. It's more of a hide and seek type thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, I wonder how this is going to turn out. I wonder how I'm going to get to show up in this. This is fun. Let me see how this happens.
Mm-hmm.
See? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hope. I knew I would have to run right in the middle of this. I'm really sorry. But
No
I'll get back.
worries. No
I'll
worries.
listen and
Thank
listen.
you for coming.
Thank you to you. All right. Aloha.
Aloha, you.
Love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yay. So if anyone would like to talk with me, please raise your hand. Ah. So this idea of dark energy, being able to get us, okay? There's no such thing as this. Okay? It's sort of like in this dream, we have a light in this dream. I've said before, in this dream we are as consciousness relating with everything that's perceived. Okay? Almost like we have a light. And believing in darkness, as in believing in any evil, can come to you. That includes what we talked about recently about being sabotaged, or someone being able to do something to you, or, you know, just maybe fear of violence that arises within you. Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't even exist. We've only made it real in thought. There's not even a such thing as death, and certainly not murder either. We're having misperceptions. We're only having misperceptions because we believed it. We believed it possible. So we don't have to re-believe when it arises. And when it arises, I mean you just have a perception of it. Say even the thought comes up. The thought of murder, let's say, you know, the thought of that, you know, the ideas that come along with it. Geez, how could anyone do anything like that? Notice there is a reaction in the body. There's a reaction to that. The reaction is happening to that because there's something taking it as real. There's no reaction unless it's taken as real. So therein lies the opportunity. The reaction. The thought of murder, reaction in the body. Maybe. Maybe that happens. That thought of murder, reaction. Oh no, I don't want that. A lot of the times we don't recognize our reaction in the body. We only realize we don't want that. Don't give me that. Well, we don't want that is also making that real. Okay? Calling it forth. We have that much power. And believing in these things can only make us unhappy. Appear apparently unhappy in the dream. Okay? Because that power of thought is everything in this dream world. It means everything in this dream world. That power of thought. Okay? And any thought that denies your true identity is meaningless. It makes a meaningless perception that's not really there, and that's why I say it's a misperception. It's actually impossible to perceive any violence without misperceiving. And that doesn't mean it's personal. It's just noticing that it is a misperception. And in noticing that it is a misperception, that becomes the experience. And in that experience, healing happens. Okay? And then experiencing, accepting that it is a misperception. We don't have to use our power to propagate these illusions of evil. We don't have to keep planting those seeds. In fact, even if a giant tree of an evil tree has grown in our perception, in our mind, it can be uprooted in an instant because it's only made of thought. It's nothing. Okay? Aloha. I have a sweet little visitor. Yay. Do you feel like you have a bad attitude? Say you're like, oh, I have a bad attitude. That's also not you. Attitudes are just arising too. It's nothing to identify with. Okay. You let them come, let them arise, let them pass, and then they're not going to be a problem. Oh, there's that attitude. If it's some kind of attitude that's unkind or anything like that, it's not going to be hanging around for very long. Because in that loving embrace, that's just accepting of anything, of everything that arises, accepting of this sensation of not feeling good or not feeling good about ourselves or not wanting to be in whatever situation we're in, whatever situation we find ourselves in. When it's noticed that that can't touch who we are, the happiness automatically prevails. The love automatically prevails. Spirits are lifted. The only thing that can hold spirits down, so to speak, like hold us, and another way to say it is hold us in a low vibration or something like that, and it's not even holding us anywhere. That's a really big one. It's a perception of something being held in a low vibration. The only thing that causes that vibration is believing that these things are real, believing that the world is real, okay? And not just made up. Pain in the body. The pain in the body is always a projection of fear. Again, not personal one bit. Again, not personal. The perception of pain is an interpretation of energy. It's an interpretation of energetic fluctuations in the body as pain. So how does that play out in an experience of pain? In an experience of pain, it's just allowed to be what it is. There's no need to try to get rid of the pain. It's okay if you use some kind of remedy to try to get rid of the pain. It's okay. You're not doing that anyways, and that really can't get rid of the pain. You can use it to, if your faith is strong enough in it, to make an illusion that the healing happened because of that. Use it to make an illusion that it happened, that you got rid of it. But since it's only energetic, it's got to arise again, either in the same form or in another form. Even shifting from physical pain to emotional pain, just pain, period. Okay? And it doesn't matter whether or not you appear to take any kind of remedy on the surface. It does not matter. Whether you take a remedy or not on the surface doesn't affect your power to heal the cause of it. Doesn't have any effect on that. It's just believing that that pain is caused by something else. Like, say the pain is caused by your body not having a good immune system, or it's caused because of you got in a car accident or something like that. And that's pain never has a cause. Never has a cause like that. It's projected right now from the mind. It's not real. It's projected right now from the mind, and it's a perception. It has no cause whatsoever. But if we give it a cause, that's like saying, I don't want to see the real cause. Don't show me the real cause. Just give me a recovery. And we call it recovery because it's like covering it back up. Covering the illusion back up. Okay. There's no cure for pain except dissolving the cause of it. There's no cure. There's no cure for illness except dissolving the cause of it. Like I said, we can achieve an apparent recovery. That's different, though. That means it's coming back. It's okay. It's okay to perceive an apparent recovery. It's not a problem. It's coming back, though, unless the root of it was seen. And the root of it is seen automatically when the thoughts that deny that root and make up another root are seen through. Because those thoughts are only a distraction. They only arise as a distraction to keep us believing in this pain, to keep us believing that it's necessary. I've even heard that when you get pregnant, you get morning sickness because that's your body's intelligence preparing the space for the baby. Okay, so number one, the body has no intelligence of its own. It's a total projection of the mind. It has no intelligence. We say stuff like, my body likes this, my body likes that, you know, but the body doesn't like or dislike. That's all coming from the mind. That's a projection onto the body. Pain is also a projection onto the body. It's an illusion, just like the body. Seems like it's being felt inside of a body. It's not. It's only being interpreted that way in the mind. And it seems to be happening to something that's solid. But the pain itself and the body are part of the same illusion. Okay? Isn't that fun? Okay, I have a question here. Let's see. I was exposed to mold and have now been experiencing symptoms. I hear you that I have physical symptoms that are really energetic. How do I change the energetics to shift the physical symptoms? Thanks, Hope. I'm enjoying this webinar. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I love you. Thanks for showing up. Okay. So, I was exposed to mold. Okay. Number one, you are exposed to mold is a perception, and you know that. That's awesome. How do I change the energetics to shift the physical symptoms? Okay, so what's asking that question right now doesn't want to know the answer. Doesn't want to know the answer. And if you'd like to have dialogue with me, Lisa, just raise your hand. Just touch that little hand. You see the little hand. And I'll open your mic, okay? So what wants to change and shift the energetics? Oh, I'll just open your mic then. You can also tell me you want to talk to me like that. Aloha, Lisa.
Hi. Thank you. So that's
Isn't this fun?
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But I think I do.
Yeah, and then see that's the thing. So it's like you do, and what's asking this question is also a distraction for you. Okay, because your attachment to shifting the physical symptoms is like a block. Okay, because the physical symptoms are really an effect of the mind. Those physical symptoms are an effect of the mind. So it's you have to be willing to heal what's causing the physical symptoms, and not have a care of what happens to the physical symptoms.
Okay.
Okay.
So non-attachment to the physical.
Exactly. So it's like the physical symptoms, whatever it is, you can use it for healing.
That I
Whatever
know.
it is, you can use it for healing. Yeah, and that doesn't mean you're using it to heal the physical symptoms, because that's not where the healing really takes place.
Aha. Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't take place there. And so trying to change the energetics for that is kind of missing the point. And what it is there's an association with an I in the questions too, because it's how do I change the energetics? How do I change? And here's the thing. You aren't capable of doing anything. You were never capable of doing anything, including changing energetics, okay? And there's only thing you're capable of is between two choices in every moment. Between two choices. Only just believing that this, for instance, this question that arises, how do I change the energetics to shift the physical symptoms, actually has meaning to recognizing, being willing to recognize that everything is perfect. Not only perfect, everything is healed. Everything is healed. See, when this is how your energetics match up with it. Okay? This is how your energetics match up. Everything is healed. You are having a misperception. These physical symptoms are a misperception. That's all they are. Everything is healed. Willingness to recognize that everything is healed is very different from making the energetics, say, imbalanced energetics, real. That's not real. Energy isn't real. Energy isn't real. Energy is an illusion. Okay? Nothing that you can identify is real. And energy is one of those things that can be identified. So it's like, what's making it real? Noticing what's making it real. Okay? This is how the ego plays it out too. It's like, okay, I know these physical symptoms aren't real. They're just energetics. Okay, so then how do I change the energetics? So it goes from trying to control one thing to trying to control another thing. That's not real. See? Those out of alignment, let's say energetics, it's a misperception. That's actually a misperception. So it's like where you're looking from is the healing, period. So anything that arises to deny your power just gets noticed, and you know it could even be kind of amusing, and thank you for letting me know, you know. Oh, is that so? How do I change the energetics to shift the physical? Oh, is that so? Is that what you want to do? See? It's sweet. It's really sweet because it thinks it's saving you. It doesn't know you. It doesn't know that you're already all powerful. That's why I'm like, thank you. It's sweet of you. So the mold and everything and all that stuff and all those perceptions, it's all meaningless. All that's happening, you know, is these energy fluctuations being interpreted. So it's like right now in this instant, recognizing that everything is okay, and that's one thing, you know, you can just say to yourself, it's okay. It's okay. That's real. It's not an I statement. I'm upset. I'm this. I'm this. I'm this. I'm this. It's okay.
Okay. So basically, take the I out of it, and be in acceptance of what is.
Yes, and you know, it's like you don't really take the I out of it either. It's just noticing these I statements as they're arising. When you're noticing them as they're arising and not taking them as true, you're not making them real. See? So you don't have to change that statement. You don't have to look for a way to change that statement. It's only just noticing. And you know, and you start noticing what is actually being said that you've been pretending that was your voice all this time. You start seeing some strange stuff coming up. It's really fun. You know, after I started seeing these statements come up about who I am and what I want to do and all this stuff, and recognizing that that's not me, then I'm just like cruising around in my house and I hear a statement, I hate my life, I want to die. And I'm just kind of like, what? Who is that? Who, who is that? But there's no difference between I hate my life and I want to die, and how do I change the energetics to shift the physical symptoms? It's just not your voice. It's not you. That's all.
Okay.
So it's only just recognizing that's not you. That's something that's trying to tie you to an identity.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'm definitely grasping what you're saying, but I will return.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions arise, I'm super happy to it's so fun and joyful. So any questions that arise, please.
All right. Blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. I love you. Aloha.
I love you.
Yay. That's always fun. I love your questions. They're so awesome. Because this is what's arising. This is what's arising, and so often being unconsciously believed, unconsciously taken as true, and that's all it is. That's the suffering. Just unconsciously taking these things as true. Okay? All these I statements, they're story. What you want, what you don't want, and even let's even say this, like with mold poisoning, to say, it's like there's no such thing as that. We make these kinds of things up for the energetics of it. Okay? For the way it makes us feel. We're using the experience. We're using the experience of the mold for the way it makes us feel. That's what needs to be seen. The I statements about not liking it and stuff like that, that's not even true. That's not even true. And the mold symptoms and everything like that, they're not caused by mold. They're not really caused by mold. And they can disappear in any moment. They could... Oh, what? Wait a minute. Wasn't I having mold symptoms? Haven't seen those in a bit. Just like that. But making it as if the mold caused the symptoms gives the symptoms a reason to be. It gives them justification to keep on going. Yay! Yay, Lisa, thank you so much. You're awesome. So everyone, I'm getting ready to sign off. Getting close to 4 o'clock my time. I don't mind staying if people want to dialogue with me. So if you would like to dialogue with me, write me a note or raise your hand. And I would love to. Here's a fun one. We knew we would encounter monsters here. We made them up. Okay? We also knew we would eventually recognize their meaning and that they would be transformed accordingly. Mold could be considered one of those monsters. It's something that could get us. Yeah. And what's the meaning? What's the meaning of it? What's the meaning of all perception? Okay? Because if it's totally meaningless by itself, what is it for? It's only for seeing through every thought that denies your true identity. And when we recognize what the perception is for, willingness to recognize what the perception is for, it's not for what we made it up to be. It's not for what we made it out to be. Then things transform. And it's really fun. Okay? It's really fun. Feel your power. Feel your power within. Yay. All right. So, in closing, this is every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Hawaii time. If you're in the Pacific time zone, that's 3 hours later, so 6 p.m. Eastern, that makes you 9 p.m. Okay? Every Tuesday. And this is sponsored by Miracle Botanicals, which is my family's essential oil company. So if you love essential oils and you love to get essential oils from people who love essential oils and love you very much and know essential oils, yeah, miraclebotanicals.com. Sweetie, oh, I love you too, Canoe, you sweetheart. I'm seeing you soon. Wisdomdialogues.org. This guy, Canoe, who just is saying hi to me right now, is going to make a beautiful splash page for it. For right now, it just points to my YouTube channel. Okay? I love you, everyone. This was so much fun, and I'll see you again next week, or you'll see me, and I'll communicate with you next week. I love you so much. Aloha and a hui ho. Yay, I love you, Christine.